Hello, good people of the internet. Today we're playing Suzerain again. This is episode 6. If you have missed the previous episode and want to catch up, then I will link to episode 1 via a card. If you don't know what Suzerain is, then episode 1 will probably give you the best overview anyway. But it is a political simulation game where I do lots and lots of reading and I make decisions. I don't know if any of them are good, but they will likely send the country into ruin in some way or another. That's kind of just how the game works. In the previous episode, we had a visit from the, someone connected to a business consortium. I don't know if that's the right word. And he wanted to discuss things about the free market and effectively, essentially he wanted to bribe me. And I rejected his bribe. Today, what do we have? So we're going to talk through, we're going to read the reports. In fact, I did read these things last time. It didn't save it though. For some reason, it only has an autosave. So we will just click through them. The army has been sighted, the nation to the north, which is threatening to invade us. I mean, they haven't outright threatened it, but they're going to probably threaten it. These were news articles that we read last time. Corporate responsibility, reform demands, gain popularity, Workers' Party solidarity march. Anyway, and there was actually this from overseas. The warning over the Rizian actions. Fine. Like I say, we read all those, so if you're interested in those, go back to the end of episode 5. We're in episode 6. We have 3 decisions we can make. Economic relief plan, act to ease the economic hardship felt in the country. Or we can talk to Marcel Caronti. Or we can make a finalization of the H3 highway contract. I think we want to talk to Caronti. Then we'll go for the highway. And then we'll make the economic relief plan. Our motorcade headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Caronti. I had only my most confidential and trustworthy team members with me. After a few hours of driving along River Esquel, we took a turn before entering Comriat. The darkness started setting in as we drove up to a hill. I can ask where we are, or I can look outside. Go on, let's be conversational. We are nearing the Hoss Country Club. We'll be there shortly. We arrived and the big iron gates of the country club opened. It was huge and outright extravagant. The main building, inspired by lesbian architecture, was illuminated from all sides. It was rather chilly, and I was approached by Petter and Lucien. I hope the journey was comfortable. The location is very remote indeed. Anything to keep me away from home. It wasn't bad. I'm looking forward to this meeting. I can't think of comfort when our country is descending into chaos. So yeah, I mean, focus on the country. All he asked was, was the journey comfortable? Let's just say the location's very remote, as in it's far away. Very exclusive country club for people who value their privacy. Into the building. After opening the marble engraved wooden door, we were greeted by 2 tall women. The receptionist led us up to the meeting room upstairs. Marcel was standing by the window looking outside at the beautiful complex. He turned around to have a quick look at us both. He was a strikingly handsome man with a well-groomed hair. He walked towards me with his hand, reached out for a handshake. Sure, I mean, we can shake hands. He had a firm grip. It is such a pleasure to meet with you in person, Mr. Caronti. I appreciate your efforts to reach out and establish a mutually beneficial relationship, or friendship even. Thanks for hosting us. I admired your father very much. May he rest in peace. Welcome. Your kind words have touched me, Mr. Vice President. He was a great man. May he rest in peace. He was a true entrepreneur. All. Please accept our condolences. We are saddened. Stay silent. I mean, how long ago did he die? Son of this guy. But if he died several years ago, then passed away Emerald Hospital in Hulsor, January 20th, 1954. What's the current date? Is this? How do I find out today's date? Like Codex Overview. One of those situation reports may have done it. That just is going between all the regions. Well, let's just say true entrepreneur, even if it isn't true. He would have been very happy to hear this from you, Mr. President. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. I can't remember what we were going to talk to this guy about. Well, we'll have a seat. Gently pointed at the seats. We sat down around a gigantic table before speaking. He knocked on wood. The past months have been tumultuous, to say the least. I'm glad you and your family were unharmed at the shooting. The whole incident must have been a shock for the kids. They aren't used to what we lived through back in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country when it became too dangerous in Comriot. I'm startled, but the important thing is they are safe and sound. Yes. Again, we'll be polite. Of course, that is all that matters. No family should suffer from tragedy ever again. We had enough of that. Well, I am known to be a straightforward person, so let me get to the point without wasting your valuable time. It was during the Alfonso campaign when I was struck by what you have done within the party. Marcel started to look at one of the paintings on the wall. Let me be straightforward, sit down and get to the point, or I can look at him, or I can give Lucien a puzzled look. I'll look at him. Pointed his finger at me. You said we will transform this nation, Mr. Rain. My conglomerate has a way of doing things, and I don't want them to change. So I want to cooperate with you. Cooperate? ? Please explain further. The intent is mutual. We'll ask him to explain further. You might have the people's support now, but what happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What is that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point. Being a president in this country means having many enemies, enemies that would resort to anything to bring you down. Let's say these enemies caused a scandal or leaked sensitive information from the administration. These would be destructive when they were released, if they were released. So, I mean, yeah, this is the media entrepreneur/proprietor. So any stories will end up making to the news, and he could be very helpful. So I can see where he's getting at. Like, he's basically saying he can leak stuff, or he can, make my life a hell. Let's just say continue. Although he'll think I'm stupid. Assume that the articles would actually protect your integrity no matter what. Try to imagine how up to 5 million people I reach will not lose faith in you. So I can say what you want in return, or you want to be nice, or I can say what's your offer. I want two things. Number one is a guarantee from you that the Rain administration won't meddle in HOS affairs no matter what happens. It's its own company. Or is it a multi-industry corporation, part of the big four, the four largest companies in Swordland? They're involved in nearly all industries, but only have a monopoly in the media industry through the ownership of Swordland Today and the Swordish Broadcasting Corporation. Employed by HOS, enjoy many benefits, huge salary bonuses, but still remains behemoth that can influence the economy as well as the perception of the society on certain issues. Okay. I mean, generally, government shouldn't meddle in companies, but it's a monopoly. That's maybe something to meddle with. Number 2 is a simple gentleman's favour for the future. Let me prove my services to you first, and I'm sure you won't disapprove when the time comes. I mean, it is risky to have a favour. How do I know that I can trust you? I mean, I don't want to question his trust. But apparently I'm going to question his trust. My circle advise against this. They don't even know we are meeting. We both put ourselves at risk here, but I'm willing to trust you. Question is, are you willing to trust me and accept this offer? Let's ask Lucian, because I think he has a more sensible voice. I think it's a good deal. He is right. We will need the media support with his newspapers and channels on our side. We can dodge a lot of bullets. The only thing that bothers me, though, is his favor request. Yes, we do not know what it is, and he could ask for something that could point fingers at us. So do we have a deal or not? Let's say we have a deal. Again, that favor in the future is going to be horrible. But I think we can't have someone early on in the presidency who can ruin the presidency. We need the people on our side, right? Happy to hear that. You can contact me personally through this number. As soon as you know that a story against you will break, please call me and it'll be taken care of. I hope you uphold your end of the bargain as well. Shake his hand. A deal is a deal. I can say it as long as you do. It's fine. Put his second hand on mine. We will meet again. Goodbye. So just got a achievement. Offer you can't refuse. Make a backroom deal with Marcel. Well, we knew about that. Thank you for your time, Mr. Cronte. And then we return to the capital. So we now have situation update. Law situation. Is that this? Media bias. Media in Swordland is facing a significant challenge due to the organised interference from both the state and private organisations. This interference has been aimed at controlling the narrative and shaping public opinion in favour of specific agendas. I mean, they have the freedom, but he wanted a favour, so... Anyway. We can... There's a report here, so let's read the report. Kesaro Kebana demands emergency to be called. The leader of NFP, the National Front Party, has demanded an emergency to be called to address the increasing political violence in the country. He stated that without a declaration of emergency, Swordland would be destabilized and the integrity of the country would be damaged even further. Let's economic relief, or let's go with the finalization of the H3 highway contract. After a lengthy drive on cliffside roads, we arrived in Lenkirk. There were crowds cheering Citizens greeted us, and the local government officials escorted us to the city hall. We were here for a significant meeting about the H3 project. Several construction companies sent their representatives to the city hall. Gus Manja couldn't make the meeting. Who is this guy? Politician, businessman who serves as the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. Okay. Due to his visit to Arisia, but I had Simon Hole and Lilius Graff by my side. Politician and businessman who serves as the Minister of Economy, Commerce and Energy. So we don't have agriculture and rural development, but we do have economy, commerce and energy. I don't know which one of those would do an infrastructure project anyway. And we have a Ministry of the Interior. But we don't have Lucian or Petter. Anyway, besides starting our economic recovery, this project will cut the time it takes to get here by road in half, Mr. President. More importantly, it will lead to improvement in Agenland. I have lived with these people and seen them suffer. I trust your plan, or I hope so. Let's hear that. Yeah, I mean, again, let's go with, it's for both, but can't I just say both? Like, I, trust your plan, but also I agree with you. But it wants you to choose which one's more important. And I think they're equally important. Why do I need favorites? They're both good things. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that. We should be able to slow down the recession if we finish this project successfully. I look forward to a positive financial outcome. According to my sources, we will lift many people in these areas out of poverty. So what will it take to stop the recession? What kind of end results do we expect? Failure during this project is not an option. Do you need any additional support? Let's ask about the kind of results. Short-term employment and long-term economic development in the Nargis and Agenland regions. The undeveloped cities of Lenkberg and Avri will receive a lot more investment after this. Simon reached through the documents he was holding and found the one that he was looking for. Have the overview of the companies here. Handle the files over. 3 corporations were listed. Swordish State Corporation, Underhall Construction, and the Taurus Holding. Um, 18921 is the main government corporation that is tasked with running public construction contracts, also part of the Big Four. The efficiency of the corporation seems to have dropped due to the recession and the somehow corrupt management structure. It's still considered the safest bet for big projects in the minds of many government officials. Underhall is the one that we were talking to Walter Tusk about last time, and he wanted to bribe us about using this company. So if we choose them now, then it's quite silly. Because we could have got money for it. But if we want to do it on merit, not on money from other people into my bank account. Constructed in nearly all cities, sure. Sold half the shares to this guy. Spokesperson for the Lothberg Group. Yeah. Gigantic real estate company that is very influential in the construction projects of the private sector. Some of their recent work is the Whole Sword Central Station, which they have completed on time but violated workers' rights in the process. Violating workers' rights being not a very good thing. And Taurus, a relatively new company, is a new and entrepreneurial private company that uses cutting-edge construction technology from Arcasia to reduce construction costs and prices. They recently began taking bigger and riskier contracts in several industries, including the construction industry. Taurus also deals with shipyard building, bridge works, and training aircraft hangars. The company is known for its great employee perks, high union membership. It is considered much more open and competitive compared to the usual Swordish corporations. They are known for their port expansion project in Benfi, which was completed with half the budget. This is one of my cities, yes. So tourists are the one which are, just reading those bios, the one I'm thinking about the most. To sum it up, big corporation on time, but human rights issues, workers' issues. Potentially slower, maybe will lose a bit of, go a bit over budget because of corruption, but probably a safe bet. And new, inexperienced, but, well, probably inexperienced at this project as well, but possibly the cheapest and safest to work for. Anyway, let's have that actual conversation instead of me just guessing what's going to happen. I reviewed them. I also took the liberty of asking the mayor of Avri to give his opinion on the matter. Which corporation should we talk about? Let's just go through them in order. The SSC, founded in 1891, the main state corporation running the day-to-day construction services of our country, one of our most trusted and honourable companies. They have served us a long time. I have worked with them on several occasions. Goes against your election promises of moving away from state-planned economy. Most importantly, the SSC uses outdated methods resulting in slower construction. A simple look at the regional highways shows us the problem. Regional highway system has no relation to this. They do have a wealth of knowledge in infrastructure. I don't agree with your negative statements, Simon. The SSC's record clearly shows completed contracts with thousands of employees who have more than 20 years of experience. According to the preliminary calculations of the SSC, they would need more resources to finish a project of this size. I'm on the fence about the SSC. I like the SSC, but I want to hear about the others. Yeah, let's go with I'm on the fence. We're not going to choose them. So now we will talk about Underhaul. The real estate and construction giant was founded in 1925 and expanded during the economic boom in the 30s. Picking this corporation would fit our market economy policy. CEO of Underhaul is Chris Shah, the mayor of Comriat. He sold half of his shares a few years ago. Had to work with Underhaul Construction before. In Halswood, they accepted several contracts for the renovation of our central station and left much to be desired. The H3 project shouldn't be left to them. I'd like to hear your... I mean, I don't want to ignore her, but I feel like we have just heard her thoughts, right? I think that they have been doing relatively well in the private sector, where they are dominating the construction industry with successful projects. Nonetheless, they subjected their workers to conditions beneath our standards during the Halswood Central Station contract, which is troubling. Working conditions must be respected. Indeed. You need to be able to trust the corporation. This is a base requirement. I agree the workers were undocumented Agnolian and Vezek immigrants with no papers, a clear violation of our laws. According to them, the tight completion schedule necessitated such bad labour conditions, which still doesn't justify the situation. Underhaul has specifically mentioned their solid track record and highlighted that they do anticipate to go over budget, but that the project will be finished on time. They do anticipate to go over budget. I'm not sure about them, because it was -2 cost as well for budget. Taurus Holding, which I assume would be a -1. Founded in 1946, owned by the entrepreneur Geralt Weiss. It is a new holding company whose subsidiaries use cutting-edge technology from Acacia to reduce construction costs and prices. They're known to provide for their workers who are part of the labour union of Swordland. There are other things Taurus does very well, like providing consultants for state corporations, but I can't vouch for their infrastructure construction at all. Why shouldn't we go with Taurus? This company is completely private and directed by a non-government board. Do we even remember if they worked on a mega project at all? Lily aside, choosing this company is too much a risk for such an important project, especially when a proven candidate like the SSC exists. So yeah, it is a risk. Shouldn't risk our first project. There's too much at stake here. Their capabilities matter more than the history they have. Need to make unbiased decisions. They took a joint contract in Arcadia for restructuring the highway intersection of one of the major cities. It went well, but it's their only large-scale success. If we're going to try a different company, this is the most unique. Project manager from Taurus Holding mentioned that they would be able to finish the project with the allocated funding. They're the only company who found the budget sufficient, making them a cheaper alternative. I mean, I don't feel confident about them. But it was time to decide which one. Wow. So, like, is something bad going to happen? I feel like something in the future may come up and they'll be like, oh, we need extra budget. We didn't think about this thing. We're new to it, so we need to do this. And maybe it will be a bad news story, which will then send to our friend to put good light on it. And maybe we'll lose one government budget from it. We're going with them. I think some bad things will happen, but they're probably okay. Good that we're staying consistent with our economic strategy. Yes, we couldn't go with SSC anyway. Simon sighed a certain section of the dossier and fixed his glasses. Very well, Mr. President. Contract will be awarded to Taurus Holding. Wish the outcome of this meeting was different, but at the end of the day, the success of the project is what matters. We don't really get along. She always has a different opinion most of the time. Although I did choose this project, which was, something that she wanted. So, for the people. Company will be notified today and construction work will begin immediately afterward. Great news. Good luck to us. I think we're off to a good start. It's great news. Expectations are that the grand opening ceremony will happen late next year. I'd better get back to work then. Thank you. This concludes the meeting. Spent the remainder of the day attending events in Lenkirk. Nice to enjoy the natural beauty of Agenland and to eat some good fish. So it's under construction, but we have, well, it's gone round a quarter. Does that mean we're going to have 3 or 4 more discussions, or is it just like 4 more turns and then we'll get to it? Now, how long is this conversation going to take? I feel like this could be a long one. It's fine, we'll try and do it in this episode. Or it's going to be a short one. With the assistance of the National Business Council and the Central Bank, Simon Hole put forward a country-wide relief plan to mitigate the economic hardships that are being felt. We can either provide stimulus checks for people in need, or bail out businesses under serious financial strain, or decide not to approve the plan. Okay. I mean, both have been tried. When it says people in need, I think because there's high unemployment, so you would want systems like unemployment benefits anyway. If we have that structure in place, then just printing money and giving it to people isn't necessarily the right move. But then equally, if businesses are failing, then they're not being run efficiently. or they're not focusing on the right business areas, or the... It's like, do you favor businesses or people? It's kind of what the game's asking you. In this, or we don't have to enact it. It's quite a big budget. But we want to improve the population, give them money, they'll spend it on the businesses, or on food and stuff, or make money. Let's go with stimulus checks. Stat decrease business government budget. We can't do everything in the budget as well. So Economic Relief Act. Recognizing the economic challenges faced by the country, the government has taken the decision to action by passing a Relief Act. This comprehensive legislation aims to address the current economic difficulties and provides targeted measures to alleviate financial burdens, support affected sectors, and lay the foundation for a resilient and prosperous economy. Stimulus checks distributed. Citizens in need has been a crucial lifeline for many struggling families, helping them pay for necessities such as food and rent. The relief effort has positively impacted millions of people across Swordsland, providing them with the financial support they require to make ends meet. Hopefully, that helps this, really. If you dent this, you want to help this. The growth chart. And so there are things which have been updated here. Oh, and organizations as well. I mean, we were reading this before. Has it updated since then? Or is it just because it appeared? Okay, there is one more thing to do. Funeral of Bernard Circus. Decision to attend the funeral. The death of Bernard Circus has shocked the country, and his funeral will be held in Dea among a large crowd of sympathizers. Circus was not the only communist poet, but also, not only communist poet, but also an elected MP that had a voice. A state funeral has been organized on him. The question is whether the president and the administration will attend the funeral or not. I mean, the problem is, if you... It's a state funeral. Why would the president not go to a state funeral? He was an MP. Why would the president not go to the funeral of an MP? However, if you go, then these people are going to be annoyed. If you don't go, then the other people are going to be annoyed. The Young Swords. So he is... regarded to be a leader of the Swordish avant-garde, Young Swords. So yeah, he was killed by right-wing people, but he is equally a left-wing person. I guess... because we had the conversation about this. And I can't remember what I said I would do. Maybe... I don't know. Let's just go with attending the funeral. It's a funeral. We pay our respects. Is that a bad decision? Maybe. And then we have the funeral itself. Which I'm going to leave on the next episode. Let's just quickly go through the news. Risky highway project. Government has announced a new mega infrastructure project to help alleviate the symptoms of the recession. When the Minister of Economy announced the launch of one of the most contested construction projects in Swordland, a new highway from Lockhaven to the Acnodium capital, Starport, he said this project will cross the poorest areas of Swordland, developing the region, improving foreign trade, and increasing access to employment. Contract. The project was given to an inexperienced company named Taurus. Yeah. Even mentions me making the decision. Mega projects such as the construction of ports, transport lines, including railways, motorways, and power plants, typically cost billions of SR. They're difficult to manage due to their large scale, complexity. Decision of such a vital project given to a company like Taurus should not have been taken so easily, as they lack the large-scale experience and organizational capacity to complete such a big task. So we know this is one of the ones owned by someone in that business group. Employment and checks. Administration has fallen for populism and the idea that giving people money will solve the problems of the economy overall. It's hard to grasp where these ideas come from, especially when long-term job growth and employment is what the country needs to secure in order to have a stable economy. So this again, people, businesses would have preferred the money going to them. How it comes at last. And this is, the more socialist people side paper saying that they're happy with the decision that I have given aid to the needy people. Cool. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave a like if you've enjoyed this. If you want to see more like this, it will encourage me to do more because people need to watch. Subscribe as well if you want to see more. There is now a playlist that you can see all these in. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.